tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Okay, so we're going to bring some extracts from the suttas and also respond to your questions about taking this into situations which are very common in daily life. So this is an extract from Sutta 21, the simile of the soul. So to students, some student is extremely gentle, extremely meek, extremely peaceful, so long as disagreeable courses of speech do not touch them. But it is when disagreeable courses of speech touch them that it can be understood whether that student is really kind, gentle, and peaceful. Students, there are these 5 courses of speech that others may use when they address you. Their speech may be timely or untimely, true or untrue, gentle or harsh, connected with good or with harm, spoken with a mind of loving kindness or with inner hate. When others address you, their speech may be timely or untimely. When others address you, their speech may be gentle or harsh. When others address you, their speech may be connected with good or with harm. When others address you, their speech may be spoken with a mind of loving kindness or with inner hate. Herein, students, you should train thus. Our minds will remain unaffected, and we shall utter no evil words. We shall abide compassionate for their welfare with a mind of loving kindness without inner hate. We shall abide pervading that person with a mind imbued with loving kindness, and starting with them, we shall abide pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. That is how you should train students. So the invitation is very clear. Practice with loving kindness. But how do you do that if you're faced with a situation which is very confrontational? How do you find the space to generate the loving kindness? Well, there have been times in your practice where you've been completely hijacked out of your meditation, where the hindrances have taken your mind completely away. And what's the first thing you notice? You've gone out of balance. You realize you're no longer with your meditation object. That's the first thing you notice.
And there is also tension, somebody said that also.
And the tension's there. So, and what do we say when you first notice that you've gone out of balance? Don't criticize yourself. Don't berate yourself, because that's the moment your meditation has come back. And that's the moment you can do something about it. You can choose to redirect your attention. What to? The tension that Andy just mentioned. And release that. Soften around your mind. Soften around the heart. Come into the energetic center. Relax your body. Softly smile. Come back to whatever you're doing in daily life, but from a place of balance. Until you're aware, there's nothing you can do. But the more you practice this, the more you're likely to catch it even earlier and earlier stage. Now, when you come back to a place of balance, if your practice is taking you back to the Brahma Vihara, you've softened your body. This is being kind to you. You're already connecting to the sense of loving kindness, this soft, kind, open. Okay? And just extend the wish for that towards the person you're dealing with, that they might come into balance. But it's not necessary that they do. It's an invitation. Self-awareness, attention is really important. And that's where we can continue our practice in daily life before we get upset. By developing a practice which is sensitive to tension. So, as Gita, yoga, you've been moving in different shapes and forms, learning to walk and go upstairs and downstairs, and we've done pushing exercises, different states of mind. Each of these is designed to show you how, when your attention is there, you can come back into this balance. It's the 6 R's bringing you back into this energy balance. The 6 R's are your best friends. Okay? The thing is not to get disappointed if they don't occur. The instigation doesn't occur right at the right moment. And that's when it's what we have in Skidio Code when we talk about the confidence to be imperfect. It's imperfect because you didn't catch it immediately. But you have confidence because you know when you did catch it, what you need to do. So don't strive to be perfect, but build your confidence in the imperfection. Would you like to comment?
One of the things we told about initially, I gave a kind of a story about Bante's employee was harassing Bante's student, and when he went to his office, when he was kind of arguing with him, he was with loving kindness. So that is what the same kind of teaching is over here. The Buddha is saying that whatever the other person may say, it may be timely, untimely, it may be for your good or for your harm, with a loving kindness heart or with a heart of hate. If they are addressing you, you keep your loving kindness going and kind of pervading all the directions. When you are doing that, then you are not feeding the other person. Or the other person may come for you to gain some nutriment, some food from you, your irritation, your anger may be their food. And when you don't give them that thing, then they don't want to kind of be in that location. They don't have any need for you. And at certain times, what happens is the negative relationship which you have cultivated can also break. So it's a very kind of important kind of teaching the Buddha is giving. And what he was saying is in a very kind of nice manner that how you can take this in a life and how you can kind of make it a part of your life, because something which you have learned as a tool, as a kind of a training that you can take in life. So it's a very kind of important teaching.
But it comes with a health warning, just like a packet of cigarettes. Okay? And the health warning is do not use your loving kindness to get something. Okay? Loving kindness is the thing itself. Do not think by using it you can manipulate a situation. Get people to be amenable to your way of thinking. Now, what I think of in my own life, in my life, I have had and continue to have 4 wonderful daughters. And we haven't always seen eye to eye. And sometimes it's not like talking to an alien species. And I'm sure that feeling was mutual. And sometimes we would get to an impasse. And then, when the frustration had subsided, what I would do is I just put loving kindness into the mix. And what often happened was they'd come back and say, that didn't quite go the way it ought to. I think we need to sit down and talk this through. They haven't necessarily changed their perspective at all. But the relationship to the disagreement had changed. This is what loving kindness can do. But don't use it to manipulate the situation. Don't use it to try to impose your perspective in some way. Okay? Smoke carefully. Now, to emphasize this, the Buddha went on to describe a situation of conflict. Students, even if bandits were to sever you savagely, limb by limb, with a two-handled sword, any student who gave rise to a mind of hate towards them would not be carrying out my teaching. Herein, students, you should train thus. Our minds will remain unaffected. We shall utter no evil words. We shall abide compassionate for their welfare with a mind of loving kindness without inner hate. Just suspend any judgment you have right now. We shall abide pervading them with a mind imbued with loving kindness, and starting with them, we shall abide pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. That is how you should train students. Okay, so hard to conjure up a more extreme example. But what the Buddha is describing there is a situation where you have tried everything. You have tried, in this context, you have tried to escape, you have tried to reason, you have tried to do anything, and nothing has worked, and you're finally faced with this situation. So you're in a helpless position. There is no further action you can do outwardly, so there's only the action you can do inwardly. Students, if you keep this advice on the simile of the soul constantly in mind, do you see any course of speech, trivial or gross, that you could not endure? No, venerable sir. Therefore, students, you should keep this advice on the simile of the soul constantly in mind. That will lead to your welfare and happiness for a long time. So, as in so much of the Buddha's teaching, as in so much of the meditation, the context is everything. When all outward possibilities have been exhausted, what is the inward possibility that we should develop, and why? And the Buddha is quite explicit. We need to develop loving kindness and compassion. Why? Because if we don't, we harm ourselves.
I just wanted to tell you that this is a real life thing which happened before I started meditation or in the path of Buddha. Uh, I was working with Citibank and we had a lot of the kind of office politics and all this pressures about like half yearly appraisals and all those things. So there was a lot of thing which was on my mind, and I was getting very mad at when I was in my home. Also, I was getting very kind of angry and all those things. So there was somebody I was particularly angry about whom I had saved his job, and he was kind of backbiting against me and working against me. So I had this mind which was very kind of heavy, and I just was going on the internet, just trying to find some solution, and I found this simile of the song. And this simile of the saw is also mentioned in other suttas, other teachings of the Buddha, where the monks will say, remember the simile of the saw, and your mental agitation will be calmed. So what I did was I took this paragraph, which the last paragraph you had read, and I cut it and put it on the my there was a shelf over there. My computer is there, or the shelf. I put it so I can read it every time. My mind goes haywire, and actually it helped me because it is Buddha is saying even if somebody cuts your arms with a two-handed saw, you should not have the heart of hate against them. You should have loving kindness. So I would always see that and kind of it balanced my mind everything. Because when I said that whatever they have done is not kind of harming me physically at least. They may career wise they may have harmed me or financially or something like that. But then that kind of balanced my mind. I have not done any metta meditation at that time. I had not done any kind of I had not heard about Bante Vimal Rapsi also. But this thing kind of came up, the Google kind of thrown it to me, and I found this very kind of strange initially, as you mentioned, that don't kind of have any judgment about that. But this really works. So keeping that in balance, every time somebody kind of shouts at you or something like that, then you can remember the simile of the song. So it's one of those things you can just keep in your kind of desk or in your pocket. So wherever you are in kind of an unbalanced mind, then you can read that. So that's a very, very useful.
Just about to talk into the glass. I must go in a mindfulness call. So what's really important to recognize here is that this is not passivity. You know, you've done everything you can, and this is the last point. Okay? But at that last point, what is the attitude you should have? Okay? And then we come on to Buddha's advice to his own son. So his own son joined his father at the age of 8. And at the age of 18, he was ready, or maybe 21, he was ready to leave on his own and to wander as a mendicant. And there's a whole range of advice about this. Let's see where we can pick this up from. Here we go. And this is part of what the Buddha said. For a Buddha, develop meditation. It is like the earth. For when you develop meditation, it's like the earth. Arisen, agreeable and disagreeable contacts will not invade your mind and remain. Just as people throw clean things and dirty things, excrement, urine, spittle, pus, and blood on the earth, and the earth is not repelled, humiliated and disgusted because of that. So too, Ramuna, develop meditation that is like the earth. For when you develop meditation that is like the earth, arisen, agreeable and disagreeable contacts will not invade your mind and remain. So the Buddha is not saying that just because you practice, you won't experience agreeable or disagreeable contacts. And notice the word here is contact. Remember, independent imagination, we have contact, feeling, and then we have tanha. Contact and feeling are completely impersonal. They're automatic. You're not in control of them. So these are things that are going to arise irrespective of what your development or practice or perspective is. So what are you going to do? Well, his first suggestion was be like the earth. Rahula develop meditation that is like water. But when you develop meditation that is like water, arisen agreeable and disagreeable contacts will not invade your mind and remain. Just as people wash clean things and dirty things, excrements, urine, spittle, pus and blood in water, and the water is not repelled, humiliated and disgusted because of that. So too, Buddha, develop meditation that is like water. For when you develop meditation that is like water, arisen agreeable and disagreeable contacts will not invade your mind and remain. Rahula, develop meditation that is like fire. For when you develop meditation that is like fire, arisen agreeable and disagreeable contacts will not invade your mind and remain. Just as people burn clean things, dirty things, excrement, urine, spittle, pus and blood in fire, and the fire is not repelled, humiliated and disgusted because of that. So too, develop meditation that is like fire. For when you develop meditation that is like fire, arisen agreeable and disagreeable contacts will not invade your mind and remain. So we're going through the classical elements here. And I often find with people that there's an affinity towards one or two of the elements, something that helps connect. Maybe water works for you, maybe fire, maybe earth, or maybe air. Develop meditation that is like air. For when you develop meditation that is like air, arisen agreeable and disagreeable contacts will not invade your mind and remain. Just as the air blows on clean things and dirty things, on excrements, urine, spittle, blood, and pus, and the air is not repelled, humiliated, and disgusted because of that. So too, develop meditation that is like air. For when you develop meditation that is like air, arisen agreeable and disagreeable contacts will not invade your mind and remain. And the third one doesn't quite connect. And develop meditation that is like space. For when you develop meditation that is like space, arisen agreeable and disagreeable contacts will not invade your mind and remain, just as space is not established anywhere. So too, develop meditation that is like space. For when you develop meditation that is like space, arisen agreeable and disagreeable contacts will not invade your mind and remain. So when we sit down, one of the things we often feel is that we create space in the mind, space in the body, space around the heart. So it's not that your meditation has to permanently create this feeling, but that you begin to see that aspects of meditation resemble this. So if you're catching feeling and craving and clinging early, you'll see these aspects being inclined. There's solidification that comes in the body. Uh, as we take identity in something, that just means the space disappears. We have this phrase in English. I feel there's no space in my head. Everything's crowding in. Um, so that's quite an old quite an helpful reference to think of. Anything you'd like to add?
One of the things it comes up in our interviews and everything is about what comes up. So Buddha is saying that whatever comes up, you don't give importance to that. Like space will not give any importance to what comes up in the space, or the water will not give importance to what comes. It will stay be water. So don't give importance to whatever is coming up in your mind. So we take ownership and we have guilt for the thoughts which arises. If there is a thought of ill will, we kind of feel guilty for I am not a bad person, but why I am getting this thought. Or if you have a thought of kind of aversion which is there, then you say, why am I getting these thoughts of aversion? So thoughts of cruelty come up. So we take ownership, and then because we take ownership of that, we are humiliated, we are disgusted with it. But the water is not. Whatever comes in the water, there is not disgusted. In the same time, whatever comes up in your mind, you should not be repelled by it. You should not have judgment for what comes up in your mind. So whatever comes up, you recognize, release, let it be where it is, then relax, smile, and come back. So in the same way, you develop your meditation like earth, like water, like fire, like air. So whatever is there in the air, there is nothing that happens that kind of repels. The air does not repel anything. Fire does not repel anything. It does not say, I will not burn this because I don't like it. It will burn whatever is there in what is put in the fire. So in that same way, you have to develop your mind which does not have judgment for whatever comes up. Don't take it that I am thinking. Say the thoughts are arising in my mind. And when you put energy to the thoughts, then they can become real and they can be really harmful also. I want to kill. It's just a thought. But when you think, I want to kill, then it becomes my thought. And then that can result in some action which can be regrettable. But when you kind of see this just as a thought and let go, like water is there, whatever is there, it just accepts. So accept whatever is coming and just continue.
Okay, so this comes from the Anguttara. It is a collection based on numerical grouping. So, if there are twos of things mentioned in the canon, it will group them into the chapter on twos. And this is the chapter on 11s. It's 11.2. Students, for a virtuous person, one whose behavior is virtuous. So that's basically keeping the five precepts. We'll give you tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, please do turn up because we release you from the 8 and you establish yourself in the 5. Okay? Uh, so, students, for a virtuous person, one whose behavior is virtuous, no volition, no act of will need be exerted. Let no regret arise in me. So we don't have to wish that there was no regret, because if we keep sila, that's part of the consequence. It is natural that no regret arises in one who is virtuous, one whose behavior is virtuous. For one without regret, no volition need be exerted. Let joy arise in me. It is natural that joy arises in one without regret. So this is a natural state of mind. Yeah. For one who is joyful, no volition need be exerted. Let rapture or pleasure arise in me. It is natural that pleasure arises in one who is joyful. For one who, with a mind filled with pleasure, no volition need be exerted. Let my body become tranquil. It is natural that the body of one with a mind filled with pleasure is tranquil. For one tranquil in body, no volition need be exerted. This is where my substitution goes wrong. Let me feel pleasure. So what could rapturous be then?
Rapture could be just a form of joy.
A form of joy, okay, a more intense form of joy. So for one tranquil in body, no volition need be exerted. Let me feel pleasure. It is natural that one tranquil in body feels pleasure. For one feeling pleasure, no volition need be exerted. Let my mind be collected. It is natural that the mind of one feeling pleasure is collected. For one who is collected, no volition need be exerted. Let me know and see things as they really are. This is the clear-sightedness that we were talking about earlier. It is natural that one who is collected knows and sees things as they really are. For one who knows and sees things as they really are, no volition need be exerted. Let me be disenchanted. Now, disenchanted. The way I like to think of this word is like a Disney cartoon. You know, in Disney, you have a character that manages to enchant other people in the cartoon. What's the consequence of being enchanted in that context? They no longer see things as they really are. And so they're being manipulated according to the enchantment. Well, when you know and see things as they really are, it's natural for that enchantment to drop away. Okay? So that is disenchantment. It is natural that one who knows and sees things as they really are, is disenchanted. For one who is disenchanted, no volition need be exerted. Let me become dispassionate. It is natural that one who is disenchanted becomes dispassionate. Now, what does it mean to be dispassionate? It means we are not driven in our choices by our emotions. It doesn't mean that we don't take them into account. It's just that they're not driving the choices that we make.
Can I give my explanation of how I kind of try and this is food based obviously. So
Is it ice
this
cream?
always like food based. So I feel that this enchanted is something like when you are going into a buffet. Initially, if you are normally you go for the best thing which you like, the shrimp or the kind of cheese, or you go for the kind of the chicken or whatever is your favorite. That's a normal mind. We go kind of go for that. When your mind is disenchanted, then you may say, okay, if I get that, it is okay. If I don't get it, is okay. Then you may not rush it for it, and you may go now normally and maybe wait for the second round to come, so you can have that. So there is a little bit of distance between what you want and what you are willing to do for what you want. When dispassionate is you do not have any option or preference. So when there is a buffet is there, you don't have the preference for your favorite dish or some other dish. So both seem the same. So when we were going through this 107 Ghanaka Mogulana, how the food was said to be eaten. So it is not for fun, not for pleasure, not for fattening, not for beautification, only for the maintenance and continuance of this body, for keeping us healthy and helping with the holy life. So, thinking thus, I will allay my hunger without overeating. So that is the kind of concept which is there, which is right over there. So you can just be having anything and it will not matter. It will not matter that it is your favorite food or it is something which was a general food. So that is how your mind is developing. Slowly, slowly, your mind is getting your grip looser on the things you want, and that can kind of make you easy in your life. When you have less preferences, when there is less disappointments. all disappointments are in the background of expectations. So you have less expectations and you have less disappointments.
So, for one who is disenchanted, no volition need be exerted. Let me become dispassionate. It is natural that one who is disenchanted becomes dispassionate. For one who is dispassionate, no volition need be exerted. Let me realize the knowledge and vision of liberation. It is natural that one who is dispassionate realizes the knowledge and vision of liberation. So this is another example of what I really like about this practice. Just like the jhanas gradually move from one to the next according to our relinquishment and our progression through the Brahmanas from metta to karuna to mudita to upekka, so loving kindness, compassion, sympathy, joy, and equanimity. It wasn't that we were determining that movement, it was a natural consequence of the evolution of our practice. So here we have another example of this natural evolution of the practice. So we're on a path, and we're moving down the path. And the thing that keeps us on the path is sila. It's the foundation. If we forego the sila, we kind of step off the path. And it doesn't mean we can't step back on. And remember, sila is not a set of inviolable rules for which there is retribution. They are the simple advice about how to keep on living. We can take the advice, or we can choose something else. All that we ask is you recognize the choice. And it's always available. Thus, students, the knowledge and vision of liberation is the purpose and benefit of dispassion. Dispassion is the purpose and benefit of disenchantment. Disenchantment is the purpose and benefit of the knowledge and vision of things as they really are. The knowledge and vision of things as they really are is the purpose and the benefit of collectedness. Collectedness is the purpose and benefit of pleasure. Pleasure is the purpose and benefit of tranquility. Tranquility is the purpose and benefit of intense joy. Intense joy is the purpose and benefit of a sort of softer form of joy, or happiness. Happiness is the purpose and benefit of non-regret. And non-regret is the purpose and benefit of virtuous behavior. Thus, students, one stage flows into the next. One stage fills up the next stage for going from the near shore to the far shore. I think it's a wonderful statement, though. And we can always restart. We can always come back and re-establish sila, bring ourselves back into balance, and we start the process again. So it's a very forgiving, it's a very kind practice. It's a very loving practice.
One thing about Sheila in one of this same book, Anguttara Nikaya, there was one sutta about how you take Sila. So the person who is taking the Shila says that I may have killed so and so in the past. I must have done so many killings in the past. but I cannot change the past. But I recognize this in the present and I take the precept to not kill. And in the future, I will make sure that I do not kill. So it is a way of saying forgiveness also. You forgive yourself for whatever you have done in the past and then recognize that this has happened, acknowledge that, and then you take the precept to remain and not care, and then maintain it. If anytime you break it, then again you take the precept, again you come in balance. That's very important that you again come in balance by again reaffirming the path you want to. And the way I see the precepts is that they are getting you in line with reality. If you break away from them, then you are doing what is not in line with reality, and thus you get some kind of payback for that. This, if you keep with that, then it would be more and more wholesome.
It's intolerant of imperfection that's not acknowledged. And it's intolerant in the sense that, the regret will be there and the regret will get in the way of the practice. But if we recognize that something has occurred, so like we said at the start of the retreat, if you find you've broken the precept, you can either retake them in your own mind or you can come and see one of us and we'll retake the precepts with you. We won't ask you which precept you've broken. We're just acknowledging that your desire to re-establish balance. And we wish to assist you to do that. And so if there's a real regret around breaking the precept, then use that as the prompt to retake the precept. And then we start again.
And one thing other about this is they say that if one is there, the other will exist. The same way the Buddha is also talking about the Eightfold Path. So if you one who has the right view will have right intention arise. One who has right intention, right speech will arise. And who has right speech, right action, right movement, that will arise. When there is right action, then what happens is right livelihood or lifestyle will arise. When there is a right lifestyle, then right effort or right practice will arise. When that is there, then right observation or right mindfulness will arise. When that is there, then samadhi or collectedness or the concentration, productive amount of concentration which is there, that will arise. So if one is there, then the next will arise. That is what he was also saying, that that is the property of those things, that you, if you have one, then the next will automatically get developed. Naturally follows.
So then you understand what we mean by set up and maintain the conditions. Because you're maintaining the conditions for the first of those things to arise. Whether it's going through the jhanas, going through the brahmanas, balancing the practice of love, working with sila, and allowing the mind to develop all the way. It's looking after the conditions that supports the practice.